Hi, I'm Carrie Blazer, and we're here today with Piper doing a session. And she has been kind enough to be willing to share her story with my YouTube channel and my subscribers. So first, I need to read a disclaimer that she agrees to be taped. And let me pull it up right here. Okay. So before we begin, I just want to confirm a couple of things for the recording. You agreed to participate in this coaching session knowing that it's being recorded and may be shared on my YouTube channel for educational purposes. Is that correct?
Yes, I do agree.
Thank you. Oh, great. And I also want you to know that if at any point during the session you feel uncomfortable with something we discuss, we can pause, stop, or edit anything before the video is published. Um, my intention with sharing sessions like this is simply to help others understand how emotional healing and self-awareness work in real life. Are you comfortable continuing?
I am. Thank you.
Okay,
Glad to be here.
wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, great. So we're going to start with the meditation and the drumming. And then after the drumming ends, I'm going to give you a few minutes to kind of just, come back into the physical world if you want to journal a little bit, and then we'll discuss what you saw during the drumming. How does that sound?
That sounds wonderful.
Okay, great. Go ahead and lay down, get comfortable. If you have a blanket.
I do. I have a vintage blankie, and I have a little dog here observing us too.
Oh, I love it. Dog will benefit. It's always
Yes,
helpful.
she will.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Put your left hand over your heart and your right hand on your belly. We're going to take 7 deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose, out through your mouth. In through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Now imagine all the white light from the universe, all of the healing, the wisdom, the knowledge light wants to enter your crown chakra, the top of your head. Ask your crown to open and be receptive that there's so much love in the universe waiting to assist you in your healing journey, transforming your wounds into wisdom and knowledge, helping you vibrate higher, creating a more abundant life for you, your loved ones, and your community. Open your crown. Ask that white light, that healing light, to swirl in your crown chakra, help you heal your crown chakra in your mind, in your brain. Now move that healing light to the front of your forehead, your third eye. Ask it to help you see more clearly, hear more clearly, for more resilience, more safety, more calm. Move that healing, loving energy into your throat, where you communicate with others, but most importantly, yourself. Ask your throat to communicate kindness, compassion, self-reflection, self-awareness. Ask it to heal your throat. Ask that healing, loving energy to go into your heart and heal your heart and open your heart to allow you to listen to yourself Express your emotions in healthy ways and recalibrate your nervous system for love, compassion, and enlightenment instead of fear, guilt, and shame. Ask for healing. Move that healing energy into the top of your abdomen, your solar plexus, where your personal power comes from, the entry point to your shadow, your subconscious. Why laughter is so important. Helps you move those wounds and transform them into wisdom. I encourage lots of laughter. Move that healing, loving energy into your sacral chakra. For women, your womb. Okay? Let it heal inside of your hips, your sacrum. Move that healing, loving energy into your root chakra. Ask it to heal with your mother. That's where the root is. Heal with your mother. Move that healing energy down your legs, through your knees. Ask for support from your legs, the strength of all those muscles. Move that healing energy down your calves, through your ankles, through your toes, all the way down to the crystalline core of the earth. So you're connected down the center of the earth and way up on high of the universe, balancing feminine below and masculine above. Now imagine you're in a soft eggshell and you're floating. You're safe. You're calm. You're receptive to yourself. And you have a violet flame swirling you, helping you, supporting you, cutting all those codependencies, the unhealthy attachments to others, the ways you seek for validation outside of yourself. Cut those cords, helping you draw healthier boundaries with yourself and with others. Now while you're floating and you're safe and you're warm, I'm going to start drumming. Oh, there was some background noise. So I have to put on my headset. But go ahead and like, if you want to write for a minute or just, kind of get your thoughts together, kind of, recalibrate it for a couple minutes. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick and I'll be right back. Okay. But just, get yourself, it's like, an otherworldly. So, it takes a minute to ground. Hello. How are you doing? Yeah.
The, the, the my sick body and beyond all my traumas. Um, so that I felt one with all the healing energy of the universe. It was amazing.
So you felt unified. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did did you feel experience that outside of yourself or inside of yourself?
Well, it almost feels like it was outside because I was no longer feeling my physical body. Like
Mm.
I became unaware of that and just aware of, my free, healthy spirit connecting with the universe and what's healthy in the universe.
So, can I offer a different perspective?
Yes.
Potentially, you went so far in that you didn't realize that the body's still there. And when you're so far in, you acknowledge that our souls go about 6 meters outside of ourselves. Yeah, I thought it was 3 feet, but no, I learned recently it's 6 meters up
Okay.
and out. And so potentially, but that's only for you to say, you went so far in that you just let go of your body. Say, okay, just let go of my body and I'm just going to be energy. And then you're just like, wow, this is a great experience.
Yeah. Yeah, it really was.
Did you
I
receive any?
feel,
Oh, go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean
No,
to
go
interrupt.
ahead.
I felt like after, as I reflected, mostly I was just basking in this feeling. But what occurred to me is that I need not fret about my home being perfect or the things that I want done to it getting done. Like I felt a new sense of patience, I think I want to say. That
Uh-huh.
it will all happen and it's within me to create a home that I love and feel comfortable in. And although I've done it many times before and was literally feeling exhausted at that prospect, I no longer feel that way after our session.
So that just like naturally comes out of your heart.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel chill now. Like it's okay. The home does not have to be perfect. There's no great big rush.
Yeah.
My energy goes on. It reminds me just now, it comes to me, the movie The Titanic and the
Mhm.
song, Heart Goes On.
Yeah.
It does. And I do need to continue working on loving myself enough to let go of the traumas, to be my best self and not let negative things negatively influence me because I'm in control of me.
Only you have sovereignty over your soul. That's totally true. I love that. I'm so glad that you did let go. You let go of your body, and I'm gonna be me. And you came out. I'm so happy. I'm so
And I
happy.
felt that I was functioning at a different vibration, like
Oh yeah,
reached a
wonderful.
vibration.
That's the goal is let go of those lower vibrating energies, and those are stored in the body as you're, well aware, and so then when you let go of those energies are stored in the body, let go of the body temporarily. And remember the Joe Dispenza video? We live in a holographic universe. We let go of everything out here and out here and just get to the sweet spot moment. Like you had an experience like Joe Dispenza was describing of letting go of everything on the outside and just coming back to your heart and your energy and your soul. I love
Yeah.
that. Did you have any visions or any dialogue?
I think that I had a vision of being happiest at my authentic self. And the dialogue was again, you are in control of your life, of your wellness. No one else can influence you. I'm speaking to myself unless you allow them to.
Right.
And, I have to get myself into situations where I have put myself in the past where it's more about spreading the love, but not spreading it in a way that takes away from me, but that it comes back to me.
Yeah. Pouring
So
from your overflow, not from inside of your cup. Don't give away your last pair of shoes, right? If you have extra shoes, cool. But oh, I love that. I'm so
I
glad.
have always told others in my life, you cannot pour from an empty cup. And
Yeah.
I've always told others, oh, you need to practice self care. But as far as doing it for myself, I have never been good at it. And I would say for the last 2 months or so, I've been working better at it. So I need to continue that. But what also the thought I also had that it is not just men that I have attracted into my life who rob me of my energy or my sense of self, but women as well. And for example, I started hiking groups in New Mexico and being that loving, share with the world kind of person. I was always volunteering to drive people. And although I had stated I want to collaborate with others, no one else would ever make a plan. No one else would ever offer to drive. So I had to walk away. And I wonder how many times I'm gonna have to walk away. And I hope I'm done doing that. Like, I hope that I don't get so embedded that it robs me and feels painful, to realize these people are not really interested in your well-being. They are sucking the life out of you.
So
Again,
do you think you were potentially overgiving, so then you attracted overtakers to so that you could see yourself, right?
absolutely. I have been an overgiver my
Me,
entire life.
me too.
Yes. A people pleaser, an overgiver. Except when I was in positions of authority. Say I was a supervisor. I was a director of special education at one time. Um, I was given great autonomy as a service coordinator, which is another word for case manager, except our boss said our clients whom I spoke to you about before are not cases and we are not their managers. So that right there was very enlightening. But um, as long as my giving is being appreciated and reciprocated to the level that anyone is capable of doing, do you know what I mean? Limited people, they couldn't reciprocate social engagements or anything. Let's say my clients, they lacked money. So I gave to them freely. I bought their coffee, I bought their cigarettes. That's a bad thing, smoking, but I've just given it up myself 15 months ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and drinking. No more of that. So I think when I get into too unstructured a giving sort of a situation that I myself create because these
Yeah,
are lessons I need to learn. That is when I find myself going, what am I doing? Why are people
right.
treating me this way? And then I have
Yeah.
to walk away. So I hope that in the future I just won't get to that point. And I think that I'm making progress.
Okay, so you're saying that when you draw boundaries, then your reality changes
Yeah.
around you. That's great. Yeah. I'm so glad you're at that point. It's hard to get to that point in the beginning because it takes time to learn how to change your insides. But when your inside changes, then your outside changes. It took me about 2 years to have my first like real experience of, oh, I changed me, and then, oh, my relationship changed. Oh, cool. Yeah, it takes time, in the
Well, I
beginning.
only started drawing boundaries
Mm,
about 10 years ago, and I am
yeah,
68 years old, consciously drawing boundaries because growing up in a dysfunctional family with, generational trauma, absorbing the shame. Okay, so the
mm,
message always was, oh, give people the benefit of the doubt. Oh, don't be rigid. Oh, give, 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 give. You're misinterpreting. Da, 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 da.
yeah,
And I finally just busted out of that somehow and said, no, no, my mother doesn't get to tell me what the reality is. And I need to release myself from always give, 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 give. I like to say I'm a
yeah,
recovering Catholic, although I have to say that my Catholicism and Catholic school was absolutely had a purpose in my
yeah,
life. I needed it. I needed the discipline because I'm probably ADHD and could have,
That's trauma too. All
yes,
that is trauma.
yeah.
So let's get back to 10 years ago. I want you to I'm creating an opportunity for you to give yourself more credit for your change and how hard you worked on yourself 10 years ago. So what happened that you started drawing boundaries? What was the catalyst for the change?
Um, so actually, it may have only been 8 years ago.
That's
So
okay.
I became so at first I want to share that I was a victim of psychiatry. A victim.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, it's
At one time I was on a cocktail of 10 medications. I weighed 60 pounds more than I weigh now, although I never looked overweight because lucky
mm,
for me, it went evenly all over my body. But
mm,
I didn't feel good in my body. But for all the outside world to see, except those who'd known me when I was a petite person, I was normal. So what happened was I decided I could no longer learn a new system for like writing goals and plans for clients, which is something I'd been doing my entire life, but they changed the way they wanted them written. And I could not wrap my head around it. So I literally had to be let go from my job. It was done in a very hurtful way. They paid me for 2 months. I'm welcome back there if ever I could get my head wrapped around what we were doing differently. And it all
mm,
just seemed to be to do with the computer
mm.
more so than whatever. I, I then, um, continued to be a victim of psychiatry. And then,
Okay, so
uh,
I'm gonna stop. Can we stop right there? The victim of because your soul plans your life.
okay,
So if you don't like your life, file agreements with your soul. So when we say victim of, like we had no control over because you kept going back. And I'm
true.
not saying that psychiatry doesn't have its challenges, like it definitely does. But how can you take responsibility for how you attracted those challenges into your life and then how you change yourself?
So
Because
I was
you've changed, like you've done amazing. Like you stopped smoking, you stopped drinking, like you're getting it together. It's awesome.
You're right. So I am responsible because you know what? I was just looking for an escape. I was looking
Mm,
for numbness. I was looking
mm,
for someone else to come and rescue me.
yeah.
So, that was an easy way out. Okay, so I was dismissed from my job. So then I took a medication that caused me to hallucinate.
Oh
All
wow.
right. And I knew that I was hallucinating but two little girls were visiting in my condo,
Mm-hmm.
and my partner at the time was there. We had been together for many years. He was inappropriate. We should have never been together. But I went into the relationship when I was down, out, broke, everything else.
Yeah.
So I ended up being sent to a psychiatric ward because I
Oh
knew
wow.
I was hallucinating, but I was hallucinating. So
Uh-huh.
I insisted that it was real, even at the same time that I knew that
Yeah.
it wasn't happening. So I kind of
Yeah.
split. So I was forced to go to a hospital. So and I'd been many times before,
Mm,
but I always checked myself in to escape my life.
yeah.
Um, so they just left me in a bed for 2 weeks. They never
Yeah.
encouraged me to shower. They never encouraged me to attend a group. They they just left me isolated as if I was a hopeless case of a human being that had gone over the edge and could not be reclaimed.
But the
So,
universe is a mirror, right? So this is where I see the pattern is other people are responsible for making you better, right? But as you found out, when you take responsibility, so they were giving you an opportunity to stand up and go, I want to get better. Or do you need to rest? Because I've been in a psych ward. That's exactly what they do. If you want to lay in your bed and rest all day long, they give you space for that. You want to go to group, they give you space for that. But they aren't in there batting at you to get better because it's got to come out of you.
in this case, it was different than other experiences I had
Mm.
because there was no one coming to me with an open heart. There was no expression of heart or care for me. So a nurse came into my room one day to deliver medications. This is very interesting. And said, "What is that on the floor?" I said, "What?" She said, "There's a pill on the floor there." She said, "You've been cheeking your meds." I said, "I would never do that. I don't know anything about that pill." And then she said, "Now you're never allowed to go home." So I thought, oh no, what have I gotten myself into? So I telephoned my son and told him to get my partner and my parents and to come down there right now to get me out of there because I was voluntary. I was a big help.
Oh, okay, okay. So you could go. Yeah, yeah.
But I said, I have to go right this second.
Hmm.
So they all came down and they sat
Mm-hmm.
there until they walked out the door with me because I did not feel safe. So
Yeah.
that experience led me to realize you're doing the wrong thing here. So within a few months, so I started doing research on how service animals can be used to treat anxiety,
Yeah.
trauma, PTSD,
Mm-hmm.
and tactile stimulation and pressure.
Yeah.
Okay, so a service animal can be trained, I researched the law and everything, by its owner. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it has to be trained to mitigate the disability you've been diagnosed with.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I'm getting a service animal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a little poopy, a little poopy.
Yeah, yeah.
And, I looked at thousands of dogs on the internet. And when I saw this little Missy that's laying behind me on the couch, I said, she's the one. I knew I wanted Chihuahua. I knew I wanted female. I knew I wanted baby, so it could have
Mm-hmm.
had no chance of being abused or neglected.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I found my girl. I
Mm-hmm.
had to wait some time to get her because she wasn't old enough yet. She was in
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi.
Yeah.
But when I told the partner I'm going to get a dog, it was a case where two people are making a bed together. I said, I'm going to get a dog. And he said, "You're not getting a dog." And for once in my life, I just realized I didn't have to fight to be myself or do what I wanted. So I kept my big mouth shut and instead of making an argument, simply said, "You cannot tell me that I cannot get a dog." We got the dog, and I started getting all my ducks in a row. Now, previous to this, I had told my psychiatric provider that I was going off all medication
Mm-hmm.
because this was even okay. No, no. So the psychiatric ward thing. Several months later, tell the psychiatric provider I'm going off all medications. Tries to keep me down. You can't go off medication. You need them. I'm worried about you. Blah blah blah. Get my little poopy, and start bringing my little poopy to sessions. And then she doesn't like that, so she basically started getting mad that I was leaving her practice, going off meds. So the dog going off the meds, and realizing
How
that,
long did it take you to go off the medications? Because you're on quite a few. Because that's probably something that could help a lot of people that
yeah.
listening.
So,
How did that process go for you?
so I took a total of 6 months. And you have to
Mm,
be very careful with the process. And
yeah.
there's a book out there called Your Drug May Be Your Problem.
Mm,
And it explains a great deal. It was written by someone that they call a humane psychiatrist out of Bethesda in the late 1970s. But it
mm,
is an eye opener. And I do believe that that book guided me to what research I needed to go off
mm.
meds, because there wasn't
Nice,
a
yeah.
psychiatric provider who was going to help me go off meds.
I mean, I was on trazodone and Klonopin and Soma, and I used all that when I attempted suicide, and it took me a while to get off the Klonopin. But it's gnarly to get off of all of those medications, especially when relying on them for so long. But what I realized after I got off is after I got off of my medications, then I was finally able to process my emotions because the medications just represses everything and keeps me stuck in the long run. While it might be a comfortable band-aid in the short term, but long run, I didn't get anywhere. It just kept me
That
stuck.
is exactly what this book says. People are
Mm,
functioning, but they actually can't see their way out of the real problem because they're
mm,
miserable.
yeah.
Um, so there was something else that just popped into my head that seemed really significant to this, but I can't think of it right now. Anyway, yes, clonazepam, people need to know, along with alcohol, are the two things that withdrawal can actually kill a person from,
Mm,
unlike every other drug, legal or illegal.
mm. That's good
Um,
to
so,
know.
now I will share that I was off all medications for probably about 5 years, 4 or 5 years. I do currently take clonazepam and trazodone PRN because the insomnia that's caused by, well, is it caused by trauma or is it caused by my Hashimoto's disease? Probably trauma, because it's probably trauma that caused my Hashimoto's disease and my IBS and my fibromyalgia and everything else. So
Yeah.
I got all my ducks in a row after the "you're not getting a dog" thing, and was done with that partner. He was gone. I said, "You need to take your hoard." He was a hoarder, which I kept out of the living space, so it wasn't shameful, but it was in my basement.
Yeah.
Um, and so with 6 months of the "you're not getting a dog" and me keeping it zipped, just got
Mhm.
all my ducks in a row, and then said, "You need to take your things and move. And here, have half of everything I own too." Because
Overgiver, yeah.
I was realizing that things weigh you down. I think I think it's really important to share here
Mhm.
that, because this is in the spirit realm and the depths of our soul. I had Doggy for 2 years, and suddenly a little book that my grandmother had given me when I was approximately 9 years old, I believe. My uncle was a professional race car driver. He made his living doing it. He was killed doing it in Pennsylvania. So the adults were seated, planning. They had to go to Pennsylvania to claim the body and make arrangements to have his body returned. And he had a wife and 4 small children. So Grandma gave me a book to sit at the kitty table and read. So 2 years after I have Doggy, this book pops into my head. It was called Peppy the Lonely Little Puppy. So I went on Amazon and I put in Peppy the Lonely Little Puppy. The cover of that book, of course, is a picture of Peppy. The dog I adopted is Peppy.
Oh, I love that.
Hi, thousands of dogs. I saw her and I knew she was the one.
It's
So,
amazing, right? That at night, like that connection from, but that's how our souls plan our lives to show us ourselves so that you could connect, helping you connect back to your childhood where the trauma happened. And look how much change you've had it for 2 years. You're not smoking, you're off alcohol. And it's, wow, I love that story. Like, that's amazing, Piper.
yeah. So I do believe in the other realm and the universe. And something really strange about me is
Mm-hmm.
that even when I was a small child, okay, so I had a fear of death for a good
Mm-hmm.
part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I fear that I'm dying now, but it's not so much a fear of death. That's
Mm-hmm.
just trauma and not feeling well. But I have always believed since I was a small child that when you die, let's say your body is at your funeral, that you can see everyone that's there and all that's happening.
Yeah, our souls never die. I mean,
Yeah.
energy never dies, right? Energy can only change. So our souls, all we're doing is changing. We come in this lifetime and we change, and then the body passes away and the soul comes back. Eh,
Right.
Yeah.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, and a tree grows, and but I don't know. Like that was just a thought I had when I was a small child. So I've always been a little, well, a lot of people would call it out there, but spiritual.
Yeah, more open to it. And so but as a child, we're innocent and we're open, right? And so in the Asian cultures, because I speak Chinese, so I really connect Asian cultures, that they believe the young children and the grandparents are perfect fit because the young children just came from the spirit world and the grandparents are about to go back. And so that's a great fit for raising the kids with the grandparents. And so that's their perspective. So I understand it. That makes sense. The innocence of the child and the wisdom and knowledge gained of the grandparents, and that there's a lot of alignment there.
Another interesting thing, and I need to write a book too, is that
Yeah.
I was pregnant with the first grandchild in my family, but I only have one sibling. But more importantly, in my ex-husband's family. And they they were of a different idea about marriage and family. My mother-in-law in particular believed in scholarship and I'm going to say high society. My father-in-law came from a simpler family, but he was a Rhodes Scholar. He was also a prisoner of war during World War II.
Yeah.
And um, he became a very bad alcoholic, which lost him his professorship and killed him all in 1 year at the age of 61. At any rate, he was the only member of the family that was happy that his youngest son was having a child. In fact, we were the first to get married, and then a bunch of people followed suit, even
Yeah.
though we were the youngest. And as the family tells it, he waited because we got a call the morning that I had been in labor and we were and my sister-in-law asked my husband what we were doing up so early and he said, "Well, we're going to have a baby today." Um and she said, "Well, we're going to the hospital because they've called us to Dad's bedside." It's not the type of family that sits by a bedside,
Yeah.
not even his wife. Um So there were phone calls back and forth, and my son belabored his birth. Little pun there. it came out like this, it would like take forever.
He made it interesting, up for a
Yeah.
challenge. Yeah.
So there were a couple of phone calls back and forth, but after my ex-husband called and said that we had had a boy,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I didn't want to know, even though we had ultrasounds back then. He's
Yeah, yeah,
43
yeah,
now. I asked
yeah,
them, don't tell me the sex of my child.
yeah,
God
yeah,
will
yeah,
tell me when he comes into this earth,
yeah,
or she.
yeah,
Um, we got a phone call like 10 minutes later saying that my father-in-law had died.
yeah.
So it is my belief, unless it was a family legend and orchestrated, that he waited for his grandson to
Yeah.
enter this world before he left.
Before it, because he wanted his son. I mean, you can read that a lot of ways, but all of our souls are constantly communicating. This is why these synchronicities happen, to show us that it was so important to know that his son had had his child, a son. And so then, like, I want to cry, right? That, okay,
Yeah.
my son has a son. Okay, it's time to go. Like, my mom passed away on my 45th birthday,
Yes.
right? And showing me how important I am. And that's the day that I was called to heal from my trauma and accept my psychic gifts. And, here I am almost 11 years later helping people, and my book, and, oh, I'm the reincarnation of Mary Magdalene. Like, what? But this is how our parents show up for us. I saw this one. I love watching the Coast Guard on like Danger TV, and there was a story about this father and son had wanted to take a fishing trip for 30 years to Alaska. They finally figured it out. The son's in his 40s, dad's in late 60s, and they go there, and the dad caught a fish, and then he had a heart attack. And what his son did, because his son was a doctor, is that there was no defibrillator on board, right? So his son created a nonprofit to get defibrillators on board of small, like, fishing businesses, right? So if that
Yes.
happens to something else. So that's the soul's part of the soul's purpose, is that they waited for this trip, and then the dad got so excited. And while it's like beautiful and tragic, but there's the wholeness, that it's both beautiful and tragic, and it's love all at the same time. It's all everything at the same time, and that's life. That's the wholeness. It's not perfect, but it is perfect, right?
Which reminds me of the Carter family song, which has always, always touched my heart.
Mm,
Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by?
right.
It's just like, wow. It's the circle
Right.
of life.
Like, totally, like, for 30 years his dad and son had been planning this, but not knowing they're planning this, but they were always planning it. And that's how our lives work out. It's how my soul's always planned to show me all of these signs and synchronicities. Like, looking back at my life, like, I lived in southern France in when I was like, 1, 2, 3 years old. And we look at the rose line from Mary Magdalene goes to Israel. Oh, my ex-husband's Israeli. Then France. And then, oh, Ireland and Scotland. Oh, my first name is Irish. Wait, what? And then I was in Munich in 1972. I was born in 1970 when the Israeli athletes were assassinated, and I married an Israeli man. But, how would I know that at that age? But I found all this stuff from my mom saved for me, showing that I was at the Munich Olympics when in my 40s and 50s I found it. But
Ah,
that's we all, like, that's how our souls plan our lives, for us to see ourselves, and then our souls plan for us to find things when it's time to remember our childhood, like you did. Like, you got the dog that looks like the special book from when you were 9 years old, helping you connect to when you were 9 years old, so that you could process those emotions. It's just, that's the view, that's the amazing, and the wow, it's all those synchronicities that come through when you look back and go, what? And that, wait, what? And then, oh, my whole life, I just wasn't aware. And then remember who we
yeah,
are. It's beautiful.
yeah. I think I've recognized much synchronicity in my life,
Hmm.
but I was losing it. Like
Hmm.
moving back here to Connecticut, and being close to my family for the first time since I shamed them by marrying four different men, three of whom were totally inappropriate. Um, you know, all sort of tried to resurrect all the trauma. So it's given me another opportunity um to recognize, and I did some family systems work with the girl that I see weekly, and her business is called Pursuing Metamorphosis. And I've given her your link.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you.
we did family systems work, which got me more towards thinking,
Mhm.
okay, about the generational trauma and helping me to see things in a perspective outside of a way that personalizes and continues to hurt myself. And then I
Mhm.
found you. To me, that's a synchronicity.
Yeah, totally. I love it. I love it. That's when we're ready for it, it shows up.
Yeah.
When you were ready for the dog and looking, remembering 9 years old, then your dog showed up, and our souls plan our lives like this. And this is the beauty of acknowledging that. I remember I got laid off 2.5 years ago. It would have been very easy to freak out at 53 years old, getting laid off. Oh, my life is over. Oh my gosh. But no, I'm like, okay, my soul has a plan. I've always had a home. I've always had food. My soul has never left me homeless. Like, it's gonna be okay, and
Right.
it's totally okay. And
Right.
and but I had, by that point, I had learned to listen to myself and trust my intuition, and my intuition had told me to do so many crazy things. And what I had to learn about my intuition is that my intuition tells me what I need to hear to take my next step. And I'm going to use the movie The Matrix as an example. In the first movie, Neo goes to see the Oracle, and he asks the Oracle, "Am I the one?" And the Oracle says, "You're not the one." Okay, was that true? No. But that's what he needed to hear so he would take the next steps to figure out that he is the one. So
Uh-huh.
that's what it is about, what we hear intuitively. And when you do meditation and then you listen to drumming or a sound bath and you get visions, just know that your soul is showing you what you need to be shown, what you need to hear to take your next step, and just leave factual accuracy out of the whole equation, because that'll mess you up every time. I mean, if I had thought about factual accuracy, why would my soul guide me to DM Andrew Tate's best friend, Justin Waller? I mean, he could have all the girls in the universe and I'm 16 years older. Why would I? But I got out of my logical head and my intuition. Okay, text Justin. Okay, say this. Okay, and everything worked out. But
Yeah.
if I had, kind of poo-pooed myself and not valued myself and not trusted my inner guidance and not trusted that my soul has all the wisdom and knowledge of the universe, like our souls are born of the quantum field that houses all the wisdom and knowledge of the universe. So that's why my soul knows more than my judgmental brain.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Um, so we have to stay, leave our spirits open. And unfortunately, Western society and Western cultures do discourage that, and the patriarchy discourages that. And so I and myself am turning towards more Eastern things. I've always believed in the yin and the yang, which can be equated to the light and the dark, and Carl Jung's shadow and light,
Yeah.
and and to physics, every action has an equal and opposite reaction, and energy never dies. It may change
It
form,
doesn't.
it never
It's
dies.
all it does is it changes. And so that's part of, so I had 35 years of debilitating lower back pain, and that
Uh,
came from my wounds from my childhood, right? But the more I change those wounds into wisdom, I don't get sick anymore. I haven't gotten sick in at least 6, 7 years,
uh,
because I don't spend that much time in my fear, guilt, and shame and those lower vibrating emotions. And that's cancer vibrates at less than 100 hertz, and and viruses and bacteria all vibrate at less than 100 hertz. So when, you learn to recalibrate your nervous system, which is basically recalibrating your soul, because the soul speaks out through the heart, and the nervous system in the heart is far more complex than the brain. But when that's the healing process. That's the reparenting process, is changing all that inside your soul and then inside your body. But as you're finding out, the more you spend time in love, compassion, and enlightenment, those higher vibrating emotions, then your illnesses go away. Like, you let go of alcoholism and smoking, which is just, my mom was an alcoholic and a smoker. So I was raised in a household that smoked, and she drank all the time, and my parents got divorced when I was 6, and so I know the challenges of that, and she struggled her whole life. She died an alcoholic.
You know what's interesting? I'm the only member of my family, so it sets me apart, who's
Mm.
ever abused alcohol. And then I
Mm.
just saw an article the other day that really resonated with me about how addiction persons who develop addictions, something different happens, I believe, in their amygdala in terms of dopamine production. So here we
It's
have science of it, but we also often, many of us, I know
mm,
I, always drank to escape or to fall asleep. And
mm,
I was able to admit to one son that I was attending AA,
mm.
and then on Christmas I had a wee relapse because my mother likes to.
Okay, keep going, and I'll put it together afterwards.
Okay, so my mother asked me to have, they brought Prosecco over because we agreed that I would cook a meal on Christmas. We would go to their house, my son that lives here and I, on Christmas Eve, but they would come to my home um, on Christmas Day because dad
Mm.
doesn't like to drive in the dark. So anyway,
Right.
mom offers Prosecco, and I have a small glass. It keeps telling me page unresponsive.
Hmm. It
Um,
shows that you're recording on my end, so go ahead and just keep going, and you
okay,
can
so
always
just
log
ignore
back
that
in.
because okay.
Yeah, but I guess this is an important point: is if it do not close your tab on the browser until the purple sign at the top says uploaded. Because if you
Okay.
close it while it's, do you see that? Do you see the purple at the top where it says uploading so and so percentage?
I do not,
Okay. Well, anyway,
because
just
these
wait.
windows keep
Oh.
popping up.
Okay. Well, at the end, we'll stop recording, and then don't close the tab until I say so. How about that?
Okay, so there's something on my page that says
Okay.
page is unresponsive, but I'm ignoring it. At any rate,
Okay.
so is it working? Um,
I mean, yeah, you're still on my end, so keep talking,
okay,
and
you're still on
you'll know.
mine.
You won't see
Sorry.
yourself. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I was afraid to say no. Like, how
Mm.
ridiculous is that? But
Yeah.
then on Christmas Day, I said, you know, I really, I really can't drink.
Mm.
I went to AA, and my mother said, "You went to AA?" I mean, oh Lordy, this,
What do
for
other
all the
people
world to
think?
see, perfect family, no one in it could have problems. Years ago, only crazy people go to psychiatrists. Our family doesn't use, we don't need that, blah, blah. But I busted through those barriers. At any rate, she said, "Why did you go to AA?" I said, "Well, I think when you stop at a store after you're done at work for the day and you get something to drink to calm yourself down, it shows that you have a problem." And she goes, "Oh, I guess you're right." And that was the end of that. And so now it's out there and everybody knows. And
Can I point? So you stood up for yourself and your reality changed.
yes.
I mean, how often did your mom act like that previous to your changing? Was it normal for her to act like that, or was that kind of a new day?
Oh, that was a new day. Now she lapses back and forth, but it's getting to be more like those new days all the time. Um,
Wow, I love that.
because I don't tolerate being told that like the heating system had a problem. And,
Hmm. Hmm.
oh, what do you know? You don't know anything, blah, blah. So it continues. But in the end, I was right. So I said, I just need to point out to you that I was correct. The system was malfunctioning. Now, she will never say, yes, you were right. But she did, I think she said, I guess so, or something like that. That's as close as I'm going to get. But no
Yeah.
longer do I want credit where credit is due. And I will not be told, you're not sick, it's all in your head. What's the matter with you? You expect too much from people. You should just accept the way everything is, blah, blah. That is not true. If you have boundaries, you have to walk away from people. You have to walk away from situations. You have to walk away from conversations. I mean, all kinds of things. So,
Yeah, you changed your world because you changed yourself. I love that. That's exactly how it works. It's exactly my healing journey. The more I changed myself, the more everything around me changed and the healthier
mhm.
I became, and I don't attract unhealthy people into my life anymore like that in my personal into my personal life. And so I love that you saw that and you saw like but how much you worked really hard for that. It doesn't come easily for those healthy boundaries to come out and to see like, oh wow, my mom is not controlling me anymore. My mom isn't pushing her lack of self-belief onto me anymore, because you had it from your childhood. And that was my whole experience. I mean, so many times, well, Carrie, you don't have any tact, and you're da and Carrie, I'm like, this is my coming from my mom, and I'm a grown adult. Like, well, because you do? I mean,
Yeah,
Carrie, don't get stoned while you're drinking alcohol. Okay, sure. Yeah, I'm not gonna, yeah, because you're an alcoholic in front of me. And so that means, my life is easy.
yeah.
But I would say that yeah, I understand. Well done, Piper. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. What's been most difficult for me is that I do remember a time when I felt far more whole. Um,
How so?
well, after I had to divorce the boy's dad because he, quote unquote, forbade me to work or continue my education.
Hmm.
So that was the deal breaker right there. Not to mention that he was mean and said, he would never marry me again, blah, 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 things like that. Um, so when I was the single mom in my purpose, you know, and I had my career and it was new and I just felt like I was on top of the world. And then I started falling in with bad men. And I was speaking to my younger son who lives right there, sort of near you, Oakland, California's a big
Oh,
state.
okay. He's in California. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where my only granddaughter is. My only grandchild's
Hmm.
3 years old. And, my son is married to the child's mother. Uh, anyway, we had a long talk one day when he and his buddy were going away for his 40th birthday weekend. And we were talking about relationships and marriage and divorce and blah, blah. And my son said to me, I said, divorce is a difficult thing. Nobody wants to get divorced. I said, try not to get divorced. I said, sometimes I wonder if I should have tried to learn to ignore your father until you kids were grown up. And my son said, well, he said, I have to say that none of your divorces were stupid. I said, no, the stupid thing was getting mixed up with the wrong people. However, I will never regret marrying your father. because I
Yeah.
did it in good faith and I trusted him.
Yeah.
And you boys would not be who you are if I had not had you with your father. And
Mm.
I love you both, my two sons, to the ends of the earth. And I said something to my son about, I have realized that I have you always been my own worst enemy.
Yeah, right. It's the only way it works. Yep. The only one that can sabotage my life is me. Yeah.
And he said, wow, good that you realize that.
Yeah. It's a hard
Because
lesson to learn. Yeah.
he
Yeah.
lived it with me,
Yeah.
and I caused them, they had terrible trauma from my mistakes. Um, but I said to him, I think I realized why I kept getting married.
Mm.
And he said, well, why is that? I said, honestly, I was trying to fix the fact that I divorced your father. I was trying to create what to the world looks like a normal nuclear family with a man and a woman and children.
Yeah.
And he goes, he didn't have to tell me I made horrible, horrible choices, but he forgives me, you know.
I love that. You worked that with your son. That's beautiful. How's your relationship with your son now?
Oh, he's like the mini me, and
Mm.
there are times when he's been volatile, and I went to meet my grandbaby in Tahoe. I got a resort and everything, and by the time 24 hours or maybe 36 hours of their arrival had elapsed, he was screaming at me that I was a narcissist and that he wasn't gonna, blah blah. And I was just like, whoa. So what I did in that case was I just left in the middle of the night without telling my son or my daughter-in-law that I was leaving. I drove my rental car. I had to leave at 2 o'clock in the morning, drive my rental car back to Reno, get on a plane and go. And my son, tried to turn it around on me. I abandoned them at a resort. There they are, my daughter-in-law's in her late 40s, my son's 40, Um, but I didn't engage with the blaming thing, and we're good.
Oh, so
And
you guys are good now?
yeah, and we've always sort of been good. We just have these
Mm.
brief periods of not good.
Yeah.
My older son went away for a long time. He moved to the West
Mm.
Coast to go to college with his girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
dropped out first semester, but never came home, struggled.
Mm.
Um, so he and I are just, we're getting there. We're making
Yeah.
progress. But
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah.
he has resentments.
Yeah. I'm still with my kids too. We go through periods where we both just need a break. And we're in one of those periods now. Okay, everybody needs a break because I had a very difficult childhood. I wasn't healed when they were born, and so they had a difficult childhood. So, and they're all in their 20s now. They're all adults now. So I encourage healthy breaks in relationships, especially when you can acknowledge trauma, childhood trauma, and then generational trauma. That's okay. Let's all take a break. We love each other, then we're going to come back. And that's learning to surf the waves of life, that you can't always be talking, and that the alone time is necessary.
Right. It feels sometimes like my older son is punishing because there are things that need to be done in this condo, which was built in 1992. But my parents bought this place so I could move back from New Mexico because
Oh,
there's
wow.
no real estate to be had
Mm.
in my price range anymore because
Mm.
I went condo in Connecticut 20 years ago, and then in New Mexico the the value of my house was rapidly declining. So my mother said, I'm taking money out of my retirement, and it was a lot of money. There's no mortgage on this place.
Nice.
But it's 30 years old, needs to be fixed up, and I need help getting settled, putting some things together, blah blah. And so my son, just my older son that's here, was like, I don't have time for you, blah 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 blah. And I did get angry with my mother, and I let her know that it seemed shameful that she didn't encourage her grandson to have a better relationship with his mother, who did need help, because I can't do it all on my own all the time. It's nice, even if you can do things, to have support sometimes, to know
Yeah.
there's people in your corner. And I think she actually spoke to him, because for the past week he's been like all over wanting to help me and spending
Oh.
time with me.
But also you continue to change on the inside. So the healthier you change on the inside, the easier it's going to be to attract him to your house to do the work. So give yourself credit, too, that you're doing great work over there. Yeah, you're doing awesome.
Yeah, and part of it is not. Sometimes it's not asking. Sometimes it is
Yeah.
letting people know that you're not going to keep getting slapped in the face figuratively with a no. I don't have time for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes you just take that break, and sometimes you don't even announce that you're taking it. It's more effective if you just quietly, you know, go about your
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
because we
And
can't
let them
control.
come back to you. Yeah, what
Yeah.
I've noticed when I'm out, 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 then I'm actually pushing people away. When I ask, ask, ask. But when I open my heart and I wait to see what I attract into my life, then I stay calm, cool, and collected. It's especially for women, because women, we're the emotional center and our hearts are a vortex. And so, be direct with the mind, but coy with the heart. So when you try to be direct with the heart, that closes the heart. So that's what's important, especially for women, is that we're the attractors, not the pursuers. So
Yeah.
I'm okay. When my kids are ready, they're going to come back, which they always do. So I'm the attractor. So I take care of myself at home, and then they'll come back when they're ready.
It's always been, especially with men
Mm,
and less with my children, that I have not stayed within my feminine energy to attract the
yeah,
masculine energy. So I've always been the caretaker, the boss of the relationship, the
yeah,
financier, the brains of
yeah.
the operation. And I don't want to be that anymore.
Oh
Um,
yay! You finally, okay. That's wonderful, because that was me. I was so busy protecting and providing for myself. I had a job at 12. I started my 6-year career at 14, a hot dog on a stick. Right, bought my own car, went to college, like the whole boss babe. I don't know if it was boss babe, but definitely academic, professional woman that I
yes.
became. And I always noticed that when I would go back to work, my femininity would just shut off. I wasn't laughing anymore. I wasn't happy anymore. I was, about getting stuff done, but that wasn't healthy Carrie. So now that I let go of the job, and I've lived off of my, the severance and then my 401(k), and wrote my book and starting my own, healing business. But I'm constantly sharing my heart. Like growing the YouTube channel is beautiful for me, because I share my heart and I'm open and it's creative and it's works for me. But I had to go through that whole process of unveiling my femininity and going, I like being over here much better.
Yes, and that's how I'm feeling right now. I did see a job that I wanted, but it worked out that I called and asked maybe what they thought was an inane question. It said full job description attached. And I
Mm,
called and asked the HR office, it was for the town, about the full job description that was not attached, although it said it
mm,
was. So
mm,
then the next day they called me back and said, we've closed interviews for that position, and they made it so you
mm,
couldn't apply for it anymore. And it was a great paying job helping other
mm,
people, that really have no access to technology, gain it and learn about it, blah blah. And I'm no I'm no IT person, but you didn't have to be. You had to be a
Right.
people person and a
Yeah.
resourceful person for this job. But I realized, and I had to say to myself, well, I what I did probably closed that opportunity to me, but really right now, what I need to be, and I told it to the fellow that I drew the boundary with yesterday, that right now I need to be a homemaker.
Okay.
I just need, I
Yeah.
need, that's
What
what I
I
need.
learned was amazing. So when women, we clean the home, that kind of repetitive movement, we create oxytocin and we bond to the home that way. Men don't. Men, when
Uh-huh.
men fix things in the home, they create vasopressin, which is kind of like the problem solving hormone. And then that
Right.
bonds them to the home through fixing. Men bond through fixing and women bond through caretaking, like the cleaning. But that's, men and women. And okay, yeah. So I said I love that the homemaker is coming out of you because that's more healthy femininity.
Right. And, I spent the last, well, since before I left my condo in Connecticut and just left and moved to the Southwest with it on the market empty,
Mhm.
got rid of almost everything, kept some things, gave a lot away, whatever, you know, just did the whole Marie Kondo minimizing thing, like a whole bag this big full of precious gems and metals that I brought to a jeweler and said, I no longer need these things. I would just like what they are worth in their weight or whatever. I remember the jeweler said, this is your charm bracelet. That was one of the things. You can't get rid of your charm bracelet. That's your whole life. I said, I have my memories.
Yeah,
I don't need
the charm.
all the glitter and all the gold.
Yeah,
I just need to get less is more sometimes.
yeah.
Less is more. So I had been fulfilling that masculine role of
Hmm.
renovating that whole condo and then renovating the house I had in New Mexico because my dad didn't have sons. So I learned all the boy skills as well as the girl skills.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, Carrie, I think I'm exhausted from having been in masculine energy for the past like 8 years. I
Well,
just
your whole
can't.
life, your whole life you've been in a lot in masculine energy. The like
Yeah,
I married the guy I could marry because I could control him. All of my
yeah,
relationships I got into because I could control, but then when I started healing, the men I attracted in I couldn't control, but then there was my opportunity to grow. Like, oh, I can't control these. Oh, now it's a new day. I can't control these men. And so I totally understand. But we have about a half an hour left, and I want to make sure that I kind of leave you with next steps. So this is what we're gonna
okay.
do. Go get a mirror or your phone. We're gonna do that Carl Jung exercise. So I kind of leave you with your technique in case, well, I need something to work on. You can do it, and then I'm gonna give you about 10 minutes to look at yourself. Do you want to grab the phone or a mirror real quick?
Does it need to be a big mirror or can it be a small mirror?
A small mirror, and then you need paper and a pen.
Okay, I will get those things. I will be
Okay,
right
cool.
back.
I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. You're fine.
I could not find my small Delft beautiful mirror that my mother brought me in Aruba, which is supposed to be in my purse. So
Oh,
I have a big mirror.
oh, then maybe you need to see a lot. You just need to see a lot. That's okay. Okay, so I'm gonna give you about 7-8 minutes until about 9:40, and go and just look at yourself and write down everything. And even if you hear it's about someone else, make it about yourself. Okay, I'll be right back.
Thank you. to stop?
Whatever you're doing good. You keep going, girlfriend. Whatever you want.
I think I'm good. I
You're
don't even know
good.
if I'm like did the assignment correctly.
You're looking at yourself and writing. That's the assignment. So you were going so well. I didn't interrupt you. Would you like to
Thanks.
share?
Sure. And again, I don't know if it makes any sense at all, but here's what I wrote
Okay,
for all of
great.
you.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
not look vibrant. I look older than I should because I am not engaging with Mother Nature enough. I do not look properly nourished. My wrinkles are showing because of stress. I miss the blonde hair I colored darker quite by accident. My confidence is hiding. My eyes are not sparkling the way they are meant to. I am gifted to be breathing and alive. I need to hydrate more. A smile makes me so much more attractive. My eyes are not as wide open as they have at times been. I can be very serious. I should reflect on positives and not negatives. I need to practice better self care. Beauty comes from inner peace. I will find it. I am so happy to have been blessed by this experience with Carrie today. The best that I can be is yet to come. Creating a new life with big changes is difficult, and I'm working on this. I see that I feel better when I stop to smell the roses. There is no rush to accomplish anything, but to create a home, my home, a reflection of my true spirit. I look exactly like me. I need to be me and let myself recognize and release all emotions. I can be my own best friend. I love my dog.
What? Like, you were so honest and vulnerable, and you saw exactly what you needed, which something that kept coming to me. Oh, she needs more time in nature, more time in nature, and then nature therapy. So I was going to prescribe, walking barefoot in nature, hugging trees. But you already saw that. You need to hydrate better. You need better self care. You need to take care of your home better. And so just by looking at yourself, this free exercise, right? You're able to see, give yourself credit for so much, and then also unveil where you can, continue to improve, all for free with a mirror, a pen, and a paper. Like, I love it. Like, love it.
And I can tell you that in New Mexico, we the dog and I were blessed to find some hiking groups, and that all just happened. Like it was not an easy journey to find these people, but that like mostly they were people from El Paso, and I mean we were hiking in the deep mountains at 9,500 feet into and out of canyons up to 10 miles at a time. And I have never felt so good in my life. And I've been trying to figure out how this is going to happen here. And I'm thinking of maybe putting something on the community group that I'm looking for people who are interested in taking a hike once a week.
Well, there's
To
also the meetup. You can go on meetup.com.
Yeah, in the past though, I needed to start and run the meetup. And so it ended
Yeah.
up to be the same thing where
Mm.
everyone was reliant on me and no one else contributed, and I put so much effort into it. The other
But
thing,
it's a new day, sweetheart. So you've changed. Like, remember, changing your inside, changing the world's inside job. You've changed a lot. So the people that you're going to attract in now is not who you're going to attract in before. So, whatever your heart guides you, if you are so guided back to meetup, potentially, you would have a different experience if you're
yeah,
so guided.
and the truth is that I know now that
Mm,
my kindness in
mm,
not charging dues for membership and having it
right.
be open to everyone and anyone could come anytime
Yeah.
was not was did not serve the self at all.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I were to charge, first of all, I don't have extra money to pay the membership. And second of
Mm.
all, if I were to charge dues, I would get people who were truly committed
Yeah.
if they were
Yeah.
willing to pay some money.
Right, right, right. So, yeah, so it's a new
And
day. It potentially, if
yeah,
that, is good for you. Yeah. I love that.
and the other thing is that I believe that in solitude, sometimes we find our answers.
Yeah.
So I am taking measures to I hope this isn't shocking, but to get the permit to carry a little pistol that I bought when I was in New Mexico. I've shot, I've enjoyed target shooting at a few points in my life, but I don't believe in violence, but I do believe in self protection. So
Yes.
at the end of the month, I'm taking a course and going through the steps. And then
Oh
it just may
wow.
be that my dog and I will go
Yeah.
by ourselves because
And maybe that's the best thing. Yeah. I love that.
that will make me
You're
feel safe.
and you're working through, okay, I need this to feel safe, and you're working through it in a legal way, and sounds
Yep.
great. You're doing awesome, Piper. Like, you're
Oh,
doing
thank you.
so well. I hope you continue to give yourself credit for that, and be grateful for how much you've changed your world because you've changed yourself, and how
Thank
open you are to, well, I'm doing this well, and well, I need to do this better, and that's wholeness. Like, that's the perfect that people look for, is when can be honest with yourself, like, oh, I'm really great here, but like everybody else, I got room to improve, and that never changes. And why would we want it to change? If it was, if life were okay, I'm good now, and there's nothing more to learn, like, why be here? So,
right.
you're awesome, Piper. You're doing awesome.
Lifelong learning applies to the spiritual and personal development as well as
Yeah.
any knowledge that we may gain. And the other thing, like part of making this house is a home, is that I'm a bright white wall ceiling. Like if I could have white
Mm.
floors, I that's what I would have.
Mm.
But I can't replace the floors in here. But I've also realized that I have some money in the bank. My dream is to build
Mm.
a house one day. My parents have the acreage. But I realized, you know what? I don't want to do that without a partner. You know,
Yeah.
and I cannot be afraid to spend my resources, such as money, to
Mm.
make this condominium my home, to put my stamp
Yeah.
on it and make it the way I'm comfortable. And that realization just came to me this week. It's like you've
Oh wow. I had a similar conundrum. You can see the green behind me, like the sage green. I just love it. It helps me so much. But a few years ago, my condo that I own, I was afraid to paint it, and the colors I didn't like. It was like, oh, I'll just put blue on the wall because it's calm, right? But it wasn't me. I was afraid to open my heart and put me on the wall. But this green color, that's me. And that only happened 2 years ago. So I
uh-huh.
understand where you're at, whereas, as a woman, I mean, that's the home, and when you're capable of decorating, that's your heart. But if your heart's closed down, and like me, I felt like I was the problem my whole life. No one likes me. Why would anyone be around me? So why would I want to put my heart on the wall? Right? But
Yes.
your heart is so open and so honest. So now you have a prime opportunity in a condo. It's hard. I'm 55. I can't take care of a house and outside. I just can't do that. But a condo, I could paint the walls and do things that was within my realm of capacity. So I'm excited for you that that's starting to come out of you just over the past week, because I remember when it came out of me, and I'm like, oh, that I could, oh, I have nice things. I'm like, oh, I have nice things, and I'm going to put them out, and
Yeah.
okay, like, this is a good thing.
Yeah. And it's funny because my mother questioned that too. But now
Mm.
she's losing her vision for one thing. She's
Mm.
almost blind. She's handling it really well. I'm very proud of my parents despite their dysfunctions and trauma, that they've had, that
Yeah.
they've passed to me and sometimes continuing to pass to me. But my mother said, "Well, I really don't think it's that bad." I said, "Well, you live in a house with all white walls." I said, "You have your beautiful antique trim." I said, but you wouldn't be caught dead living with blue-gray walls and green walls here, and
Yeah.
and they're all not great shades. And so she accepted it instead of arguing. Like, it feels like a victory every time. It just,
Oh, it's so wonderful that, relationships, that's the point. It's a relationship. There's no end game. You continue to work on it. And then as you see, the more you work on yourself, the better with your mom you bring up. That seems like you just keep getting rewarded with that relationship with your mom the more work you do on yourself, and then she can see herself, and because you can imagine what was her childhood like, that she treated you such that everything's about everybody else. We want other people to see our problems, like put on a good front. It's all persona, 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 and not your heart, not your soul. It's all about what other people think and not being true to yourself, which is a common problem. It's common.
well, the family systems thing kind of showed me some of that. And the fact is that it must have been my grandfather being a very controlling person. And I never saw that in him because I was his grandchild. But
Yeah.
he made my mother walk down the aisle of a Catholic church in 1957, very, very pregnant, wearing a white gown
Yeah.
with my Protestant father.
Yeah.
How traumatic is that? You know? So, yeah. Yeah.
My
So,
mom was engaged 4 times. My dad was the fourth engagement. My dad was 4 years younger than her.
mm-hmm.
In the 60s, they got married in my brother, mid 60s. My brother was born in 68.
Yeah.
So, so here's the backstory. So my mom's mom got pregnant at 16 years old, didn't get married, had the baby, destroyed the records, and my grandma raised my as her own. And
Right.
my grandma never told my aunt that was her sister. She thought that was that. Oh, yeah, that her daughters. My aunt always thought my grandma was her sister. Do you
Uh-huh.
want to know when my aunt found out? My grandma passed away when she was 82 years old. And my aunt found out after she passed away, even though everyone in the family knew and never told her.
Wow.
But that's how things were done. And I've seen in so many families where everyone talks behind everybody else's back, but they have a different persona in the front. But that's not a healthy relationship. But it's typical, it's common, but it's not healthy to be like
Well,
that.
yeah, and it is so true. I mean, dysfunction runs. My dad has lots of siblings, and
Mm-hmm.
one of my cousins was in hospice and died.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And
wow.
my aunt never told anyone.
Yeah.
He told her. So none of us went to see him. So he
Yeah.
probably died thinking no one loved him.
Yeah.
And it's because my aunt has her own issues
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
control. And how sad,
Yeah. Yeah.
I just found that out this morning before I talked to you. I mean, I
Oh,
would have been at
wow.
that cousin's bedside. I haven't seen him since we grew up, but when I was a child, he was my hero. My older
Yeah.
boy cousin, because I
Yeah.
was the first little girl in the family. But a friend of mine, her father told her after her mother died that he was not her biological father. She had been
Wow.
her whole life, you know, she said her parents had to get married like mine, but, her family didn't do anything, elaborate about it. Um, so I don't think it traumatized her mother. But she said to me, why did my father tell me this now? Like,
Yeah.
she's a friend I had to walk away from after 50
Yeah.
years of her dumping and her emotional stuff on me and never listening to me about ways you can heal, and I finally had to say to her one day, because then she wasn't taking responsibility when her son impregnated a girl, and And then he didn't want to take responsibility for the child, even though they discovered the woman was a drug addict and possibly had weirdo sexual things going on with her 8-year-old son. And I had to just end it when she called me up. It was like putting that girl down. And I asked, well, is your son going to file for custody of this child? Oh, no, he's not ready for that. Besides, he lives with us. I said, well, that would make 3 of you to raise the baby. So you can't have it both ways. Put the mother down, and I'm not going to give her any of the hundreds of dollars worth of baby things I bought. And I thought, oh. And I said, I pay for therapy. I said, and I asked you to please not call me up with all these things, particularly your
Yeah.
siblings. And she said, oh, come on, if you can't just vent to your best friend. And she was someone I never heard from except when she had something to vent about. So I just said, I pay for therapy and I don't pay for therapy to absorb your trauma. So I suggest that you pay for therapy because maybe you'll listen to the person who's trying to help you if you're paying for them. Call me when you have something happy to talk about, please. Well, that was 3 years ago.
Well, you call a spade, and you're better off for it. And maybe she'll come back. You never know. You never know. Maybe she'll come back, and maybe that's the boundary she needed to change. And that's being a good friend. Me from my childhood, I wouldn't let JC around me in high school. That's the
Yeah.
boundary he needed, and that's the boundary I needed to have our whole life, and then have this opportunity for me to, over the past 10 years, heal and reveal my healing gifts. And so those are, while it's difficult, drawing a healthy boundary is a gift, both to yourself and the person receiving it. And it's a long-term gift, but that's the best gift, is a long-term gift. I think, you did
That's
awesome,
true
but
because we don't want to be enablers either.
no, right. And so that's what we do. When I didn't draw boundaries with my kids, I enabled their poor behavior. And so now I draw healthy boundaries, and that gives everyone an opportunity to change. And what I really learned is, when I draw a healthy boundary with someone, not only do I give myself an opportunity to change, but it's the only way I give them an opportunity to change. And it always works. Healthy boundary always works. So okay, I'm going to hold and I'm going to stop the recording now. Thank everyone for listening. Please like and subscribe to receive more information on how you can heal your own trauma, and we'll see you next time. So go ahead and stay, Piper, though, okay?